Hello, welcome to Dadpuzzles. So, have you ever felt like clueless parents? So please don't fear about that. Because today we have a good ultimate parenting pro on the line, Bria Little. She's the CEO of Eminent Health Solutions, and she's joining us to share her wisdom on juggling the kids, career, and also keeping your sanity together. So please let's dive in. Welcome.
Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you for accepting doing this, my friend. I think this is amazing, and the more help we can get from different parents, the better.
Mhm.
So can you please introduce yourself about
Mhm.
you so folks can know you?
Yes, I'm Bria.
Mhm.
I am a nurse. I founded Eminent Health Solutions. We are a quality consulting firm, nationally serving, hoping to go global soon. We dive into Oasis QA, audit compliance, legal nurse consulting, amongst other things, merging into health tech. So I've been a nurse for about 8 years, been from the bedside to leadership to legal everywhere with that. So,
Right.
becoming a parent kind of made me go into this sector of paying attention to social determinants of health, paying attention to Medicare, Medicaid, and that kind of like pivoted my career choice.
Oh, this is amazing, amazing. Because a lot of times when you become a parent, then you have the history already, so you're like, oh no, no, I understand what these people are going through. Please, let's so you
Yeah.
become more effective. Yes, ma'am.
Mhm.
Awesome. So how do you see the intersection of healthcare and family coming together?
Well, that's kind of a loaded question because there are a
Mm,
lot of implementations that are going to be moving forward, if not already in existence, with the
mm-hmm,
healthcare organizations within our community. Their
mm-hmm,
primary goal is going to be to continue to promote quality outcomes and incentivize organizations to do the same. So it is a great opportunity. You're going to see a lot of networks amongst the hospitals as well as primary care providers, standalone ED, to work on that preventative early care maintenance. That's something that's right at the intersection of family and healthcare and well-being. Sometimes an emergency happens and financially is a burden. Better resources, quicker access to care, maybe preventing those things. That's ultimately going to be the biggest thing with that. We're seeing behavioral health merge into the intersection as well. We
mm-hmm.
can't take care of our children if we don't take care of ourselves. And me personally, that was something I had to learn. I thought I could drain myself and just pour into my child. And, those resources to let us know that, it's okay. Those are
Mm-hmm.
going to be some big deals. And lastly, chronic disease management. That is going to be something that is spearheaded and just revolutionized. And that is a service that we do provide as well. So things like diabetes and hypertension, those are things we don't think are that serious, but they can become serious. So, in order to optimize the organization's sustainability as well as promote our community quality outcomes with the patients we serve, it's best to go ahead and handle those issues before they get too large and become a problem. Um, that's where social determinants of health comes in. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people don't uh, look into the fact that people have barriers that we couldn't even think about. And that was
Right.
something that I recently learned myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Everyone doesn't have a digital device to
Right.
do telemedicine.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone can't take off work to go to the doctor to get a doctor's note for work.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And mainly as well, people have cultural standards. I won't say barriers because your
Mm-hmm.
culture, your morals, your beliefs, I would never label them as such, but they have intricate criteria within their culture that they honor, and
Mm-hmm.
alternatives aren't being communicated to them. So,
Right.
working cohesively, that's going to be at the intersection as well.
Oh, amazing. Thank you. And also, I noticed also things like being homeless. We used to just state it as a fact, but we don't really make it useful on our end as healthcare providers. And
Yeah.
guess what? Nowadays, I'm thankful that we consider all those things as one of the, the severity of illness of the patients. So this is amazing.
Hmm. Yes.
Awesome, awesome. So, what are the biggest challenges so far you think families face today, uh, based on that? For instance, like I know we haven't, let's say, hmm, no, no, I think you've touched most of it, and I'm happy that like companies like yourself exist, and also nowadays I see there's a big movement on,
Hmm.
let's say, with the lifestyle move, like with the lifestyle medicine, where people we try to attack those chronic conditions so we can, sometimes we have the reversals of those things. So this is
Hmm.
amazing. Thank
Right.
you so much.
You.
Th-
Thank
Thanks
you.
so much for what you do. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. You're welcome.
So I want to jump into the issue of, about mothers, because I'm happy that you ask, do you only deal with men? What about ladies? Like I really, this is for everybody, because I think both parents, we're involved. I think this is the best thing. So what are the roles of the women that can, how can you guys help us?
Hmm.
Do like be better?
Well, that again
Yeah.
is a loaded question.
Yes.
There really isn't a rule book because
Right.
everyone is different, and then we have to look at why traditional gender roles were even put in place in the first place. We were in a
Mm-hmm.
different era, a different financial state, a different economy state.
Mm-hmm.
Women had even less resources than they do now and opportunity at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to keep those key pivotal pain points in mind when we try to label what should be done in a household. You know, for me personally,
Mm-hmm.
whatever
Mm-hmm.
someone else likes, that's their business. If it works for them and they are mentally clear on
Mm-hmm.
all realms on how
Right.
that's navigated, I'm okay with that. But
Mm-hmm.
one of the biggest things that I do see is that the idea that just because you're a male, you can't make decisions as far as the little minute things within the home, running
Mm-hmm.
that aspect. you
Mm-hmm.
know um, if women are working 8 hours plus a day just like a male would,
Right.
and then when the bills come, that is divvied down the line.
Mm-hmm.
Household income is, well, excuse me, household duties are to go
Right.
down the line as well. That's a big thing. Fathers are not less capable. You'd be
Mm-hmm.
surprised what people can do when you give them the opportunity. Now, again,
Absolutely.
if someone wants to revert back to mom taking care of home, dad taking care of the bills, that's perfectly fine. But that's
Mm-hmm.
where mental health and clarity kind of comes in as well. Because
Right.
we have to keep in mind that as leaders, you have to have emotional intelligence as well as intellectual. You can know how to read a book in 17 different languages, but if
Mm-hmm.
you decide to panic and not pivot when there's an issue,
Mm-hmm.
then how resourceful are you in that role?
Right.
So we have to kind of be practical and
Mm-hmm.
realistic, maybe not watch
Right.
so much television that tells
Mm-hmm.
us how things should go.
Right. Absolutely. I like what you just mentioned. I think this is this is a unique way to put it. That okay. So in your particular situation,
Hmm.
how can the lady help?
Hmm.
How can the wife help the husband? And like and then I can I have to like place that clarity that okay, by the way, every family is different. So thank you
Hmm.
for sharing that. Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Hmm.
ma'am. Yeah, because a lot of times I think we still have this like almost is.
Want real results that last? Stop wasting time on quick fixes. A no fat approach to sustainable fitness, radiant health, and mental well being is your roadmap to lasting transformation. Learn how to fuel your body, move with joy, and cultivate mental strength, all without the restrictive rules. Start your journey to sustainable success. Download your guide today.
Is like a stigmatization, like, oh yeah, by the way, like wives do this, dads do that,
Right.
but everybody's different. Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. And so so like how can you encourage us, because I like the idea of giving us the freedom to run
Mhm.
things, to
Right.
I think that, this is amazing when we get involved into minute things. I think it becomes an amazing thing. Like I remember this is a cultural thing. I know for sure because my dad, for instance, will not be involved in the little things at home about food or like
Yeah.
school or whatever. He has his own department, and mom will be involved with all things. So but
Right.
nowadays it's different for me because I'm involved because it's only me and my wife, and we don't have like we don't have like somebody helping us with work at home and stuff like that. So guess what, I have
Hmm.
to
Right.
know all the minute details. So yes, I'm one of the, I think this is the generation that we live in. We have to be involved. So
Right.
what are the things that you can help us besides giving us the freedom you're thinking so far?
Encouragement and communication,
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
uh, maybe the perfectionist in us as a person may come out. Maybe they didn't do it the way I would do it. It's a partnership. One thing I
Hmm.
had to learn as well is give people the opportunity, judge their patterns, not their
Hmm.
mistakes. Is it
Hmm.
repeated? Are they trying? Are they moving? Are they really invested in making this a rational partnership? That's something you
Hmm.
have to assess as well.
Hmm.
Um, and sometimes we need to give clear instruction or clear communication on what our expectation is. That goes into business or dealing with a family friend, or as
Right.
well as with a spouse, those type of things. So a person thrives where they are supported. If they're constantly hit with negativity, they won't promote themselves, and they won't give you positive results or good return.
Okay.
So that goes into, again, mental health as well.
Hmm.
Take some maturity to do that.
Absolutely. So far, in your experience, or maybe in the folks that you deal with,
Mhm.
like the clients,
Mhm.
what are the common misconceptions that you see in women? I know
That
they're all loaded,
I
right?
have.
I know that's why I'm trying to make sure that we somehow narrow down to, and then you say, okay, so you know what, with this particular community, da da da, but then I understand we cannot be too graphic or
Right.
too 100% because then you'll be like, oh, excuse me, you're labeling us what, so
Right. I'm
yeah.
trying to be very careful with my words because I
Right.
don't want anyone upset with me.
Oh.
Um, One big thing is, it's just the whole child rearing thing.
Hmm.
Men can be very active, and it can promote, positive responses in children. From the time a child is from 0 to 7, primarily that's mommy's time, right?
Hmm.
We could, pivot to try to explore some other options with that. Children really do thrive with two parents in the home who are of sound mind with each other.
Hmm.
We have to add that little piece in there
Right.
as well. Um,
Hmm.
the misconception that I'm thinking of right now is that supporting fathers would mean we as women would have to do more. And that's a catch 22, because you'll often hear women like myself, because I have said it, well,
Hmm.
if I make it easy, if I work with him, it's just going to take longer. I just should just go ahead and do it. Yeah,
Hmm.
initially, when you work on a project, when you're working
Hmm.
on something that is new, you weren't perfect at it. When I first stepped out on the floor as a nurse, I wouldn't have trusted me as a nurse. I had a preceptor. I had someone who guided me and let me make
Hmm.
those mistakes, and who cared enough to guide me to where I needed to be. So in a partnership, if that is what you want, now if it's not, then that's a different story. But if
Right.
that is what you want, you're gonna have to
Hmm.
expect that person. You're gonna have to grow with them.
Hmm. Amazing. Oh, thank you.
Mhm.
So let's talk a little bit how you juggle, you
Mhm.
know like the family and work, because
Mhm.
you're a very busy person. You have
Yes.
your own project. You have your,
Mhm.
I'm not sure, some, like in my case, I have the usual 9 to 5, and then I have this
Mhm.
project, and then you have family, all those things. How does it work for you, my friend?
When I find out, I will let you know. I do
Mm-hmm.
not know how I fit everything in,
Mm-hmm.
but I will say there is a little bit of a method to the madness. I'm very, very organized. So I am a single parent. I won't say a single mom. My daughter's
Mm-hmm.
father is very active in her life.
Mm-hmm.
But I am a single mom. I have a 5-year-old child. And
Mm-hmm.
so everything I do has to be organized. It has to be prepared for, kind of, but also at the same time, here's the gray area part. We
Mm-hmm.
have to leave room for imperfections. That was something I had to learn too,
Mm-hmm.
that everything is not going to go exactly the way we want it. If we as
Yep.
human beings knew exactly what we were supposed to have, we would be eons ahead of where we are now. So we do not
Absolutely.
have the answers to everything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, every setback is not your downfall. Grow with your children. That the
Right.
silly things they do, the things they break, those are moments that they learn, and you should cherish that. I mean, I blinked and my child was no longer an infant. So,
Wow.
enjoying the journey. I think we
Mm-hmm.
as human beings just have this expectation on
Right.
how things are supposed to go. And if we
Mm-hmm.
take a moment to sit back and step back and look at the situation, is it really
Mm-hmm.
that deep? Is it really that much of an issue? So work life balance in this economy, yes, it's a thing because
Right.
prices are going up.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on the amount of children you have, your
Right.
income may not divvy out the way it needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the type of person, there is a solution to every problem. Even if it's monetary, there is a solution to every problem. So your mindset going into a project, your mindset with going into a goal, is going to be the framework for that outcome.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you have struggles, you have to realize you do have a child that's watching you. And that child is going to go, you can put up every barrier that you know. You can do anything possible to keep them from getting hit by life. But that's not
Mm-hmm.
a thing. That's
Right.
not realistic. What we should teach them is how to go through the storm. You shouldn't teach them how to avoid entirely, because that
Right.
was something I personally had to, again,
Right.
I was that controlling parent. I
Mm-hmm.
was, oh no, oh no, oh no, we can't do this, we can't do that, we can't do this, we can't do that. And I, in turn, started to teach my child objective analysis, critical thinking skills, and discernment, because those are the tools she needs.
Right.
We'll have an easier time teaching our children that than
Mm-hmm.
teaching them to just avoid everything entirely. Something is going to happen in their life, and they need to know how to deal with it.
Right. Absolutely. Oh man, thanks so much. I think this is amazing. It's actually, it helps you with your like with your mental
Mm-hmm.
situation, because you don't have to that worry as much, because you have already provided those tools. And also,
Right.
you'll be, avoiding that imperfectionist issue. And
Yes.
you also have another piece as well, like, this is all like therapy for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Amazing. So what are the how are how can companies help, creating the supportive work, like working cultures for parents? Because sometimes we have that, um I think it's something that is that is ongoing. You have some companies, some hospitals, for instance, or uh the big issue now, for instance, is about daycare. You know, daycares is an issue, is a big thing. And you have some places they close at 3 p.m. How can you close at 3 p.m. in this? It's like that's the time I'm working. It's
Mm-hmm.
but anyways, those are the hours. But let's say, can the companies maybe help us with the financing, a little bit of that? Or I know this is a political thing as well, so
Oh yeah.
you. So I'll let you, like dive in on that issue a little bit.
Yes, childcare is a big contender when it
Hmm.
comes to the income structure in a home, because you can essentially, I'll be very transparent. My child's first preschool was $1,200 a month.
Hmm.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
However, that's what had to be done so
Hmm.
that she could get the education she needed and I could also work during the
Hmm.
day.
Right.
Um, that's, yeah, again, ridiculous. When I saw that, I just blinked my eyes. Like, I don't have three children in here. I don't have two children. I have one child in here, and it was
Hmm.
1,200. But you have to understand their resources that they are getting. So we can't just say, "Oh, child care is too much." You have to understand there is a trickle down effect to everything. Just like
Hmm.
$100 worth of groceries is not what it was in the 90s.
Hmm.
It them getting their supplies and the thing that the state tells them that they have to have in order to keep those doors open for you anyway, they
Hmm.
have to have those things in place, and those things cost. They have employees who are living under the same conditions as you as well, and so
Right.
they're going to have a benchmark on what they're going to take home as well. So I think, in again, mindset, when you go into these issues and commerce and capitalism, you can't just blame and use the test dummy as the business that you're dealing with face first.
Hmm.
You have to look deeper into it. we're all in this situation.
Right.
I do remember vaguely, and this was before I had my child, when I started to become a nurse, there were programs within the hospital that allowed for children to be watched. With that, there's also state funding sometimes, like with the VPK program here in
Mhm.
Florida, that helps assist, and it's not necessarily at all guided by a pay structure. You have to make less than such and such to get this. That's
Mhm.
not within that as well. So we have to just keep in mind to look at our resources
Mhm.
and be realistic about what you can and can't do. Don't strain yourself to do something you cannot. I am seeing like an influx of working from home. That's what got me working at home,
Mhm.
wanting to be
Mhm.
with my daughter more, but also enjoying what I went to school to do,
Right.
and pivot into that arena. Um,
Right.
but remote work is really what people who are not feeling this child care bill type
Mhm.
thing, that is something that people are spearheading into due to that reason.
Absolutely. Oh man, thank you so much for sharing that. And so far, what do you think can the technology help us right now in still maintaining the balance of work and family?
Well, if you're anything like me, I'm an iPad person, and
Mhm.
I schedule everything out from
Mhm.
my company to what my child needs, events that I need to attend, things like that.
Mhm.
That's what I use it for. I know telemedicine is a big thing now.
Mhm.
Um, to utilize that work life balance, we have to
Right.
understand and kind of empathize with the fact that you're not going to know everything. It's okay to
Right.
utilize resources, and community resources are available to help and assist and guide,
Mhm.
because you have to think, based upon someone's culture, based upon
Mhm.
their background, they may not innately know the things that we know as
Mhm.
healthcare providers. And so, just utilizing your resources and educating yourself, that's where the emotional and part goes into the intelligence part, the academic part. Emotionally, you have to be prepared to be a forever learner. If you
Mhm.
just stay with what you know while the world's evolving and changing, you'll be stagnant, hateful, and probably miserable.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. Um. So how can families access this affordable and
Mm.
quality healthcare? Because this is also still a challenge, right?
It is, and sometimes more than not, it is based
Mhm.
upon income. Medicaid per state has a
Mhm.
benchmark with that. Medicare is a contingency based upon disability and your age, things
Mhm.
of that nature. What I'm seeing with dealing with, my strategic partnerships with different patient advocacy companies and things of that nature, I am seeing payment plan options for people who do not even have insurance. So it looks like companies are going into looking at what they can do without a middleman to provide things of that nature to the sector of people who really do not have health insurance. The whole health insurance thing and what they can do, that is a highly political and loaded question with that. We're
Mhm.
seeing other constructs of insurance coverage, like private insurance,
Mhm.
dynamics with. I'm trying to think of the name of this company right on the top of my head, but we're seeing other private sectors open
Okay.
and
Okay.
looking at different avenues for private pay, private coverage with insurance as well.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, I know, like we mentioned before about how the the preventative health now is becoming like a bigger movement.
Yes.
So this is amazing. So how can we, like what measures can families prioritize to like take advantage of this?
When you are with your provider, I know
Mhm.
one thing that I oftentimes saw when I was at the bedside. The provider would come in, the provider would just say whatever, and the patients often got white coat syndrome. Yeah, we understand, we get it, we know. And they are just as confused as they want to be when he or she leaves that room. And One thing that we are seeing an influx of with organizations within our community, including myself, is chronic
Mm-hmm.
care management. Again,
Mm-hmm.
those are implementations where there is a coordinator that assists with guiding this person through the algorithm of taking care of themselves. You got to think, these elderly people, they may
Mm-hmm.
not be as quick at technology as we are. They may
Right.
not remember how to do certain things, but they literally have a primary care provider, a neurologist, a cardiologist, a nephrologist, and they all have to sync, right?
Right. Right.
And we know from experience that's not a thing. That's
They
not,
need to
they
navigate that.
oftentimes, that's not a thing. That
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, they get so
Mm-hmm.
busy, they do not collaborate with one another. So that chronic care management piece, reaching out, because that is something that Medicaid and Medicare does cover, is chronic care management,
Mm-hmm.
Care Advantage as well. A lot of those things. So this is something that is not going to cost the person. So
Mm-hmm.
utilizing that service.
Oh, amazing. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I know also, and the technology will be what kind of like technology in place that can help them. I know
Mm-mm.
if they don't have a like if their family taking that initiative to like make the follow up, do they have like navigators, like to follow up with people?
Oh yes,
Okay,
yes, yes,
amazing.
very much. Um, but we have to go back into the social determinants of health with that too, because some chronic care agencies or monitoring services, they do offer something with remote care monitoring, where the device is utilized to check
Hmm.
in on the patient and things of that nature. So that's another component of technology being used in that
Okay.
light. Uh,
Hmm.
but we have to also think about rural access and maybe not having the signal or the service to do so. Um, the little things that we think that the
Tired of fads and frustration? Build sustainable wellness for life. Forget quick fixes that fail to deliver lasting results. Imagine feeling energized, moving confidently, and radiating health for years. Achieving true wellness isn't about exhaustion or deprivation. It's about building habits that fit seamlessly into your life. Invest in yourself today for lasting fitness, radiant health, and mental well-being. Ready to transform your life? Click here to learn more. By purchasing the book, you'll gain lifetime access to updates, newsletters, future editions, and exclusive wellness bonuses from the author. Start your journey to wellness now.
does not matter, but they are actually a hindrance to that person completing their regimen that's prescribed. So
Hmm.
adherence to that, this isn't new, but it is something that is being pushed more heavily. So, and this is something that push is what I'm seeing is new. So I am kind of excited to see what's to come out of
Hmm.
this, maybe in the next year even.
Right. Right. Okay. So what do you think the community play? Can help us, through the family, to have a better family health and the well-being, because communities I'm talking about, let's say, like having maybe the resources, I know, like like sometimes we have good stores that have good prices and stuff like that. So there we get our vegetables and everything.
Right.
Maybe you have good parks. They have things that we can do that the yani we can work out without having the gym. Like the whole membership with the gym and stuff like that. So those kind of things, maybe like how can the community help us more? Like along those things, I guess.
I'm sorry, I think you broke up a little bit. What was that
Oh, okay.
last part?
No, 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 no. Yes, never. I apologize. Sometimes like my end or your end can be a little.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am. So I'll just, I was wondering how can the community play part in helping families, to like maintain their family, like their health and also the wellness. So I was thinking about, let's say, for us to really target and support those local
Mm-hmm.
stores that have good prices, like with the vegetables and all those things. Like we support them more so that they exist, and maybe to maybe have meetings and create these local parks where we create more staff there, like that is needed to like do this, like calisthenics or things that we
Mm-hmm.
don't need to go to the gym for. You know what I mean? So I mean, I'm just thinking, like in general, what do you
Yes.
think that, can the community help us?
Oh, absolutely. So I do nonprofit board auditing as well, with operations and all the boring stuff people don't want to think about that matters.
I like
So
it.
One in particular, Neon City Unity Foundation out in Las Vegas, Nevada. There are initiatives to promote holistic measures and education to the community for free. These are not things that you have to purchase. Seeing that implemented into the community, giving those initiatives, having those events, those
Hmm.
are the things that are going to push the community to start to want to learn more about their prognoses, learn more
Hmm.
about what grandma has going on in the home, being better able to take care of their children, home health initiatives as well with the chronic care management and medication therapy management. That's a big contender as well.
Hmm.
So nonprofit organizations play a large role in community outreach. Some of the hospitals that you go to are actually nonprofit. Some of the universities that you go to are actually
Right.
nonprofit. So I don't want you to think when you hear nonprofit, you're just talking about somebody who fundraises on the side of the road. A lot of
Hmm.
these large organizations that do pilot these initiatives are actively within the community educating, offering
Hmm.
those resources, because
Hmm.
we want to see everyone do well. There are resources out there, so it's up to us as clinicians and people who are part of these community organizations
Hmm.
to educate everyone.
Oh, amazing. Thank you. I think that I feel like most of the weight is lifted, because that was my concern. Like I was saying, we as community, but I'm like, this is going to the political route. Like, how the
Yeah, it
heck are we going
is.
to do this? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is amazing. Thank you so much. So I know, like initially you had mentioned about how important it is to have the good mental well-being. So maybe I'm gonna, like repeat this question again. How is
Okay.
it important for like both parents in the family to have the good mental health?
Okay, so how can I explain this? I am a
Mhm.
very practical person, even with
Mhm.
my 5 year old.
Right.
The outside looking in, it may
Mhm.
make your head turn, but you have to understand my
Mhm.
child is me and acts like
Right.
me. So
Right.
she's a very analytical person. So I
Mhm.
would say this:
Right.
when you're dealing with two people,
Mhm.
because I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a relationship
Mhm.
guru at
Right.
all. But when
Okay.
you're dealing with two people, even in a corporate office, there
Right.
has to be some type of cohesiveness and some type of understanding. If
Mhm.
one person just does not get it or is not willing to learn,
Mhm.
it's ineffective.
Mhm.
So, what would be the purpose of that?
You're not
Of
gonna
that at
go
all?
far. Yeah.
Nothing. So but like I said, when you do decide to partner with someone, you
Mhm.
are inadvertently kind of saying that you are willing to go through the motions to a point, don't take that
Mhm.
so literally, of a
Mhm.
person growing and
Mhm.
becoming who they are. Like I said, for me, I am the type of person, I judge patterns and
Mhm.
behaviors.
Okay.
um and so let's reassess, let's go back to the drawing board.
Mhm.
We're not going to go back there too many times, but I'm just saying that's one of the things that I do.
Mhm.
People are not very realistic with,
Mhm.
especially in thinking that traditional roles
Mhm.
reign in the home.
Mhm.
Someone may lead here, someone may sit back there.
Mhm.
Going back again with children,
Mhm.
being more close with their mom, and dad
Mhm.
has to do something else. That if you don't have the mental health or the mental stamina to even uh, look at a different point of view that would
Mhm.
be acceptable or
Mhm.
exceptional within your family structure,
Mhm.
it might not work. You have to
Right.
be able to change, adapt, and transform into different areas. And that's what we should teach our children, to change and adapt.
Right, right. No, this is amazing, and then I think is something that probably you can go back to maybe the person before they got married.
Hmm.
Let's say they used to have this too much ego or whatever, but you don't
Hmm.
realize when you have, like when you have a family, this is you have to, you put your ego in check, because you have to look at
Right.
the big picture. For instance,
Yes.
and even small things that say, like you can be hurt, it can seem like that from outside or from your world before the marriage, but now you have a different lens, you have a different view, you look at the big picture. Like in the end, they know what time it is, they know, oh, dad let this thing go, but he, like in the end, I understand why, like, there's no difference, everything is okay. And that was just me growing up, I was being unreasonable and immature and stuff like that. So, maybe I'm going too I'm talking too vaguely, but I think the point, as you mentioned, is to for people to being able to adjust and look
Mhm.
at the big picture, and see what you're talking about, the patterns and stuff like that. But I know it's hard for people like, well, one of my prior guests, he was in the service, and he was talking about, let's say, when the folks come in from abroad, they have to adjust to the family unit, because sometimes they think, even when they were not there, like now that they're back, people have to do XYZ. No, 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 you have to kind of adjust to what the family is doing. That's
Right.
how it works. So this is a good point, my friend. Thanks so much for sharing that.
You're welcome.
So what are the signs of parental like burnout? This is not it's not only in healthcare. This is in the families
Right.
as well, everywhere. So what are the signs that you think, it shows like, oh yeah, these folks are really, yeah, they've had it, like, what are the signs for that, my friend?
Irrational behaviors would be another thing, and that's in general. That's burnout from anything.
Right.
The way you react to
Mm-hmm.
something, like for instance, your child drops a plate on the floor and it just sends you into a tizzy or something
Right.
like that. Where
Mm-hmm.
you dropped a plate on the floor yesterday and it wasn't that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
Those type of things. Uh, just you're starting to see yourself not getting as much done, and there's really not too
Mm-hmm.
many barriers to you getting it done.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you're so tired, you're
Mm-hmm.
drained.
Right.
You can't really. I've seen patients when they're in that panic state or that anxious state, they can hardly form a sentence. Now, these are very educated people. These are
Mm-hmm.
people who generally, or maybe even are public speakers. Your brain is just in a conundrum,
Mm-hmm.
and you're thinking, oh, I just must be going crazy, or
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, I don't know what's wrong with me. Did I eat something or drink something? No,
Mm-hmm.
it's stress. Stress is it can manifest itself in the most physical ways possible.
Mm-hmm.
It can cause arrhythmias,
Mm-hmm.
and things of that nature. So one of the biggest things is just being disorganized in your speech, disorganized in the way you carry out your day. Those are some of the most subtle things that I've noticed in patients when they
Mm-hmm.
become overly stressed, burned out, and
Mm-hmm.
eventually they do crash.
Mm-hmm.
They do crash.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I think this is where, like, sometimes they do some really horrible things, or they just get
Mhm.
into trouble, then
Right.
somehow that creates the reset. Wow.
Hmm.
Thanks so much for sharing that. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners about the importance of families and fatherhood and
Uh,
motherhood, everything?
no, not really. No,
Mm-hmm.
I think we
Okay.
covered a lot.
All right.
Covered a
Yes. Sorry
lot.
about that. I bored you with 1,000
No, no,
questions.
not at all. Not at
Yes,
all.
yes. Do you have any possible question to the next guest on that puzzles? Speaking about the families and, like, the parenthood. Do you have any
Mhm.
like, something that you think they should cover, so that maybe a world can be a better place
Uh,
that way?
uh, mm, that's a good one. Well, with the children, keeping them in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe someone who is keen in the adolescent, prepubescent stage, and looking
Mm-hmm.
at the data and maybe the analytics behind how they feel
Mm-hmm.
about being in a single parent versus, same parent, two parent
Okay. Okay.
household.
Fantastic. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So really, that was a game changer. Thank you. I appreciate you. And you've been dropping
Hmm.
some serious knowledge and bombs. Some knowledge bombs. I appreciate you doing this. And so for folks listening to us, please remember that parenthood is a work in progress. You don't
Hmm.
have, like, don't be too hard on yourself. Keep exploring, keep learning. That's why we have dad puzzles and many other like, podcasts that talk about parenthood. You have many YouTube videos about parenthood, how to deal with the burnout. Check out those things so that you can be a better parent. And please keep enjoying this crazy ride of parenthood, please. And let me see if they have any questions, because
Okay.
we are live. And uh, okay, there we go. So there haven't been any live question at the moment. So this is
Okay.
good. But if there's any question in the future, I'll definitely share them to you. So how can
Okay.
folks find you, my friend, and this great co- you know company and program that you're having, my friend?
We have our website at
Mm-hmm.
www.eminenthealthsolutions.llc.com.
Okay.
Um, all my email and contact and my EA's information is there. And
Fantastic.
don't hesitate to reach out.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you. So, guys, until next time, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's done. Wow.